Anytime you have a community anchor, like a London Drugs store closing, it's going to make news, right? But especially when there are so many concerns as well about organized retail theft. And that is an ongoing issue for so many retailers in Metro Vancouver. Now the federal government has introduced something called Bill C-14. Now it recognizes organized retail theft as an aggravating factor in sentencing. That's new because it may not seem like much, but it's a big deal. So do retailers think it's going to make a difference? And are things getting any better out there? Well, let's find out. Clint Mahlman is the president and COO of London Drugs and the co-founder of the advocacy organization Save Our Streets, and joins us now. Good morning, Clint. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Simi.
How would you describe business these days?
It's a tough environment out there. Consumers are confused. The tariff has scared a lot of people. Sometimes it's not a worry for them, but I think a lot of people were waiting for the federal budget. Interest rates, all those things are conspiring. In retail, we say a confused consumer doesn't spend. And so the more certainty they have, they can manage their home budget. So we're seeing some signs that people want to have a great Christmas, and that with interest rates going down and some stability now with the budget, we're hopeful. Retailers are always optimistic.
I guess so, right? But it's never a good sign when you have to close a store. Like that's been in the news this week.
And these are decades-long decisions. For me, it's personal. I was assistant store manager at that store when I was coming through the chain. So, I think it's a sign of the times where we have landlords that aren't willing to invest in the property and equipment. We want a certain standard to please our customers, and we couldn't get that from that landlord. The retail crime issue is a contributing factor. It's really impacted not only our staff safety, but the profitability of the store. And there's been open fencing happening in a store in that particular complex for a long time. And it typifies what we see throughout Canada, quite frankly, but certainly Western Canada.
So given some of the recent developments of the new bill that has come, are you confident that some of these things could make a difference for your operation?
We're pleased to see the government act. We're very thankful to the Pacific Liberal Caucus, who reached out to SOS and wanted a complete briefing. Of course, like any group, there was some issues they didn't understand. Organized retail crime was one of them, that most Canadians and certainly politicians have no understanding of the depth of the issue. We're disappointed. We pointed to the specific legislation in California that they're using that's been very effective to deal with organized retail crime as a specific offense in their version of the criminal code. So who knows what an interpretation on sentencing is going to do.
So you're saying it didn't go far enough?
It didn't go far enough, no. And I think that those are the things that we worry about. Is there's a lot of process happens between the bill being announced, between what's enacted and what the charges to judges are. So we're optimistic, and we continue to advocate for changes that are going to protect retail workers and customers.
I wonder, Clint, as well, does the general public fully understand the depth of this? I was talking about this on the show a couple of weeks ago, where I said, people, they see deals on Facebook Marketplace and they go for it and they think, wow, what I got such a deal. But do they not understand that a lot of what they're seeing is probably stolen? Yeah,
they don't. And maybe it's a reflection of the economy where everyone's looking for some form of deal when something has got the tags. And when we've heard from criminals we've arrested that said, hey, why would I break into a house these days when I can come into your store with no consequences at criminal law, get a brand new item in a box, and the customer gets a warranty, and I can put it on Facebook Marketplace or any of the other marketplaces. And that's the organized nature of it.
So you actually have heard that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the criminals laugh at the system. The criminals laugh at the system. They know that there's no consequences. And we're not talking about someone that's made an innocent. These are professional criminals that make a life with organized retail crime or themselves. Dozens and dozens of charges. Sometimes the police won't charge them because they know the system is backed up. This is an issue where I was a little disappointed in the provincial government seeming to take a victory lap. I'm encouraged to see their support finally come around publicly, but nowhere did you hear them say to support this bill, we are going to gap all those Crown prosecution spaces that they know. You have a wonderful guest on from the BC Crown Prosecutors Service that explains the issues, the complexity. They need the resources. And for the provincial government to somehow take credit for what happened federally, that's great. All the more support is the best. But they have a leadership issue they could be taking advantage of to be ahead of British Columbia and saying, we hear you, we're going to fulfill all those Crown prosecutors, we're going to advocate on behalf of the Crown prosecutors to have the national registry that they've been looking for. So the person that commits a theft in Calgary today is also included in the presentation to judges. So.
Okay, those are important. Obviously, we're going to keep following. A couple of the things, though, I wanted to talk to you about. What does the holiday retail season look like for you right now? Because I know that's a key factor. A lot of retailers are counting on that this year.
Yeah, it's volatile. I mean, we have our friends to the south that are still making changes to tariff. That creates potential problems in pricing. Consumers are obviously feeling the pressure, so companies like us are doing the best to absorb some of those costs, not pass everything on, as are some of our vendors. But we're optimistic. We think it'll be a steady as she goes Christmas.
Right.
You're not going to see any highlights of record sales, but it'll be good, I think.
Yet, I know a lot of retailers count on the holiday season to kind of make up for it. And yet, at London Drugs, you're waiting before you launch the holiday retail season. Why is that?
We have a very specific, passionate belief that Remembrance Day, both the Indigenous Veterans Day on November 8th and of course, the 11th, are important for culturally in Canada to pause and reflect on the sacrifices that Canadians and those families of the veterans and current active serving members of CAF are respected. I'm always disappointed when we see international retailers ignore how important that is to Canadians. And so for London Drugs, we do our very best. You don't see us advertise. You don't see us put up our decorations until after the 11th. And that's because the contributions of those veterans and their families and the current members have to be respected. It's just so important to us. We were founded by a veteran returning from World War II, and our current ownership has lost family members. We have so many of our employees that are touched by the contributions and service to Canada. And it's a real passion point for us.
Clearly, it is. So thank you for explaining. I know you'll see some things in the store, but you're not going to advertise or do the full launch until after Remembrance Day.
That's our principles around that.